What up, guys? So, today we are using Tactical, and Tactical recently received a scan buff on concentrated fire. And I do have the heavy bolt rifle today, and I am trying my best to buff basically to buff my range damage as much as possible, so I can complement my scan. And the thing is, I'm also using improved efficiency, which is going to help me get some grenades with basically with concentrated fire. The scan kind of just lasts a little bit longer, 60% longer. It has been buffed from 50% to 60%, and it's going to help reliably refill my grenades. And I wanted to bring out the heavy bolt rifle with this build because first of all, I really enjoy this weapon. And we are basically doing our best to scan as many enemies as possible, and I figured, hey, you know what, penetrating is going to be really fun to use with this. That said, we do start off this operation a little bit sloppy. I should just straight up drop this scan right now, and we as a team can fight around it as it just kind of hangs out for a bit. But basically, I tried my best to just backpedal a little bit here because of the spore mines, and frankly, the spore mines are going to make the fight move a bit, which is going to have enemies, you know, basically jump out of the scan. That's the one thing about concentrated fire that you have to be careful with, is when you drop the scan, the enemies that leave the area will not be scanned anymore. But you are still able to reliably get a lot of damage out of concentrated fire as long as you are prepared for it. There, I wasn't very prepared for it. I was kind of just, you know, getting a lot of chip damage there. But I wasn't too worried about it. I knew scan is very strong. Tactical's in a very strong spot. So there's been plenty of times where I started with low health as a tactical. But okay, here's a good showcase of this. I dropped the scan, and look, I got a grenade back. Yay. Getting the grenade back with improved efficiency is one of the best things about scan. And with concentrated fire, it kind of just hangs out a little bit longer, so you are able to get more enemies into the scan, as long as you place it right and fight around it. We have some pretty good team perks there. As a team, we've actually played really well. I think we were a great, just overall team. We do have a bulwark here. We do have the assault class, so we do have a fair amount of melee damage, and that's another great example of the scan. It kind of just hangs out there for a bit, and you are able to also get the one-shots because of Mark for Death, which is an amazing perk, by the way. Mark for Death is when an enemy is scanned and you land a headshot, you are able to just one-shot them. And I just really gotta say, after using concentrated fire, this is like the second time that I really committed using it on a build. I gotta say, I really enjoy it. I think the buff to it was a really good buff. And, you know, they obviously also adjusted the way the equipment perks work, so they are more reliable as well. And I think they just have really good synergy when you have a scan that's capable of scanning a lot of enemies, and then you can also just refill your grenade through that. Honestly, refilling your grenade is so powerful in Absolute because it just really helps out, dealing with extremists. And yes, we are getting pounced on by a handful of lictors right now. Luckily, the scan can linger for quite a bit, and it just allows us to get the extra boost we need for our damage to basically take these guys out without a problem. The fact that they were still alive there was kind of insane, but that was a great banner by our bulwark there. That was very well timed, and yeah, definitely jumping into this Hive Tyrant fight with a really nice kit because I have the Guardian Relic and the two stims right there. The heavy bolt rifle is doing amazing. That was just all right at the head to that Majoress, and we were able to basically fight off of that extremist ambush without much of a problem. Now, here's another good example of how good scan is. Pretty much all of those enemies are gone. The scan, I do believe I have the perk where the scan is giving those enemies 75% more damage from equipment. And yeah, when you get that big group completely scanned, you have the assault just slam right on top of them. As your bulwark, I believe the bulwark threw a grenade in there. I think I might have thrown a grenade in there as well. So we were able to get a lot of damage. Now, I think here we were definitely really confident in the way we were able to take out enemies. And we said, you know what? Let's go fight these extremists that we can totally dodge through. You know, we can totally dodge these extremists through the elevator right there. And of course, it's 2 zoanthropes. And we start with one of our teammates down. You could say we could have just jumped into that elevator, and we probably should have. we might have, should have went into the elevator, but you know what? I had the heavy bolt rifle, and I felt pretty confident the zoanthropes wouldn't be too big of an issue. And overall, as a team, we are definitely putting out like a lot of damage. Now I do have. The reason why I was basically the zoanthrope guy there is because there's a bulwark and an assault on the team, and they are basically melee classes. So the heavy bolt rifle is basically the only consistent range damage we have for our team. And I think the heavy bolt rifle is actually in a great spot right now. As you can see with this operation, it does a really good job at taking out, you know, gaunts, like hordes of enemies. The piercing was a great idea for the heavy bolt rifle. It effectively acts as a heavy bolter, but a heavy bolter at home, essentially. I said this before, but the heavy bolt rifle is definitely one of my favorite weapons. It was the first ranged weapon I ever fully leveled up. And well, outside of like the bolt pistol or something like that. I just think the bolt pistol I have on the tactical and the bulwark, I might have leveled up that before the heavy bolt rifle. But regardless, a primary. And I really think the heavy bolt rifle, you know, it's kind of a controversial weapon. Some people think it's bad, some people think it's really good. I really think it is good. I do think it's good, obviously. I think it's likely the best, basically the best bolt rifle, maybe. I mean, you know, unless you consider the Stalker, you know, something like that. The Stalker's pretty good. The Stalker is definitely pretty good. But the heavy bolt rifle is seriously so reliable. It just gets the job done in pretty much every situation. You can use the heavy bolt rifle. You can use it against mobs. You can use it against single targets. As long as, you know, the scan here is definitely helping out the ability of, you know, basically helping out the heavy bolt rifle's ability to focus targets. Like extremists or terminus, you know, the heavy bolt rifle is good in every situation. And right there, I think I accidentally stole the execution of the bulwark, but luckily we had a Biovore left over, so the bulwark was able to full heal. I was just kind of tunnel vision there. I was not paying attention. I just saw the extremists, and I hit him with scan, and I figured, hey, you know what? We're going to take him out. But, okay, yes, we are jumping into the Hive Tyrant fight. We have a good team here. We have a good team here. We were able to play together quite well, I say. It's not often where I kind of stop for a moment just to fight some extremists before progressing through a level. And you can see the damage we are getting out of scan right here. The Hive Tyrant is almost dead for phase 1. Concentrated fire definitely did a fair amount of extra damage there. Just kind of hangs out for a little bit. And dude, I gotta be honest, I really think scan is in a great spot right now. Scan was recently adjusted. Apparently there were some bugs with it, and scan's still really good. And we have to keep in mind, scan has also been nerfed against terminus enemies, I believe, right? Like there's a nerf for scan in one of the first couple patches of the game. I think it was the same patch where they nerfed Meltas. Basically the Meltas, the grenade and the melter rifle has been nerfed. Now there I just get absolutely teed up by the Hive Tyrant. The Hive Tyrant letting me know that they're still a threatening foe. And not to mention, I think I got stunned out of using my stim pack, so I ended up like forcing one through that was not a reliable stim pack to use. And I also lose one. So I lose a Guardian Relic and the stim. But I have a Melta that I whiff as well. This Hive Tyrant fight went from really good to really sloppy, really fast. And now we have a whole bunch of gonks coming after us, and we have to play as a team. But unfortunately, now as a team, we are basically down. But look at this Melta! Look at this Melta! I dropped the Melta, everything's scanned. Boom! Oh my god. That Hive Tyrant fight was so goofy, man. It was a good one. It was definitely a good one because we put out a lot of damage, right? But like, look at that damage. I actually jumped into this operation late as well. That is really good damage for the heavy bolt rifle right there. Definitely don't sleep on that weapon. It's very powerful. The concentrated fire buff was really good. I actually am starting to enjoy that perk. I used to not like it a lot, but the buff makes it very, very powerful.